Stop everything you're doing and listen carefully because what I'm about to share with you isn't just another self-help technique or meditation practice. It's a quantum breakthrough that has been deliberately hidden from the public for decades. This mind hack is so powerful that those who discover it often describe their lives in terms of before and after, as if they've crossed an invisible threshold into an entirely new reality. What if I told you that the greatest minds in human history, from Einstein to Tesla, from ancient mystics to modern quantum physicists, all access the same fundamental secret about how reality actually works? What if this secret has been hidden in plain sight, encoded in texts thousands of years old, and simultaneously confirmed by cutting-edge quantum research at institutions like Princeton and Stanford? The quantum mind hack I'm about to reveal isn't some complex procedure requiring years of practice or special equipment. It's a precise protocol you can implement tonight in the comfort of your own home that can literally reprogram how your consciousness interacts with the quantum field, the fundamental fabric of reality itself. This isn't speculation or pseudoscience. In 1979, the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory began documenting how human consciousness directly influences quantum systems. After thousands of rigorously controlled experiments, they conclusively demonstrated that your mind doesn't just interpret reality, it helps create it at the most fundamental level. Why has this information been suppressed? Why isn't it taught in every school alongside basic physics? Because this knowledge fundamentally challenges the power structures that depend on human beings feeling small, limited, and dependent on external authorities. A person who understands how to consciously interact with quantum fields becomes, in a very real sense, the author of their own reality. For centuries, elite groups have guarded this knowledge through secret societies, complex symbol systems, and deliberately obscured texts. The Hermetic phrase, "as above, so below, as within, so without," was an poetic metaphor. It was a precise description of how consciousness and physical reality interact at the quantum level. Today, the veil lifts. Today, this ancient wisdom merges with quantum science to give you a practical tool that can literally restructure the probability fields around you, attracting experiences that once seemed impossible and dissolving obstacles that once appeared insurmountable. Before we continue, I must give you fair warning. After implementing this quantum mind hack, your understanding of what's possible will fundamentally change. Things you once struggled with for years may resolve themselves with unexpected ease. Opportunities you couldn't access before may suddenly appear. Limitations you thought were permanent may dissolve overnight. Are you ready to step behind the curtain of physical reality and access the quantum control panel of your own existence? Part 1. The Hidden Science of Reality Creation. To understand why the quantum mind hack works so powerfully, we need to first understand the true nature of physical reality, a nature that has been systematically obscured by both mainstream science and conventional religious teachings. For over 3 centuries, Western civilization has operated under the Newtonian Cartesian paradigm that portrays the universe as a mechanical system of separate objects interacting through fixed laws, with consciousness as merely a byproduct of brain chemistry. This model essentially places human beings at the mercy of external circumstances, passive observers in a universe that operates independently of their awareness. But in the early 20th century, the quantum revolution shattered this paradigm. When physicists looked at the fundamental building blocks of matter, they discovered something shocking. Solid matter doesn't exist. What we perceive as physical objects are actually probability waves that collapse into definite states only when observed by consciousness. As Nobel Prize-winning physicist Max Planck stated, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness." This wasn't some mystical assertion. It was the conclusion drawn from rigorous experimental data. The famous double-slit experiment, replicated thousands of times worldwide, demonstrated that particles behave differently when observed versus unobserved. The implications are staggering. Consciousness doesn't just perceive reality, it participates in creating it. But this was just the beginning. In the 1970s, physicist John Wheeler proposed the participatory universe theory, suggesting that observation not only affects quantum systems in the present, but can actually influence events in the past. Later experiments confirmed this seemingly impossible prediction through delayed choice quantum erasers. Meanwhile, at Princeton University, the PEER, Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory, conducted over 2.5 million trials documenting how human intention directly influences random event generators. The statistical probability of their results occurring by chance was less than 1 in a trillion, providing irrefutable evidence that consciousness affects physical systems. This research doesn't suggest that you can simply wish for anything and it will instantly materialize. Rather, it reveals that consciousness influences probability fields, gradually shifting what becomes physically manifest through consistent intention. The ancient Hermetic traditions described this same principle thousands of years ago, teaching that mind is the builder and that physical reality emerges from mental substance. The Kybalion, a Hermetic text, states, "The universe is mental, held in the mind of the All." What mystics intuited through direct experience, quantum physicists have now verified through experimental data. Dr. Dean Radin, chief scientist at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, has spent decades documenting these effects in laboratory settings. His meta-analysis of over 1,000 experiments on mind-matter interaction shows odds against a chance of more than 1 trillion to 1. In his words, the evidence for mind-matter interaction is now as strong as the evidence for the health dangers of smoking. But perhaps the most groundbreaking discoveries come from the field of quantum biology. Recent research confirms that quantum effects don't just operate at subatomic scales or in specialized laboratory conditions. They're fundamental to basic biological processes including photosynthesis, bird migration, and possibly even consciousness itself. The implications are revolutionary. Your consciousness is not a passive observer of reality but an active participant in its creation. The dividing line between inner and outer reality is far more permeable than conventional science has acknowledged. This understanding forms the theoretical foundation for the quantum mind hack. By precisely targeting the interface between consciousness and quantum fields, this protocol allows you to systematically influence probability patterns in your life experience. It isn't magic or superstition. It's applied quantum physics that operates through precise mechanisms at the fundamental level of reality. The reason this approach works so much more effectively than conventional visualization or affirmation techniques is that it bypasses the conscious mind's resistance and directly engages the quantum field through the subconscious. While your conscious mind can only process about 40 bits of information per second, your subconscious processes approximately 40 million bits per second, giving it vastly greater influence over your quantum field interactions. The quantum mind hack creates a direct channel between your conscious intention and your subconscious field-generating capabilities, harmonizing them to create coherent signals that systematically restructure probability fields around you. Part 2. Why most manifestation methods fail. Before revealing the exact protocol for the quantum mind hack, we need to understand why conventional manifestation approaches typically produce inconsistent results at best and often fail completely. This understanding is crucial because these same pitfalls can undermine the effectiveness of the quantum protocol if not addressed. There are 7 specific failure points that sabotage most manifestation attempts, creating frustration and reinforcing the belief that conscious reality creation is merely wishful thinking rather than applied quantum science. The first failure point: the electrical interference problem. Most people attempt manifestation techniques while their nervous systems are in a state of chronic fight-or-flight activation. Modern life keeps stress hormones consistently elevated, creating what neuroscientists call electrical noise in the nervous system. This neural static creates contradictory signals that cancel out intentional quantum field interactions. Research at the HeartMath Institute demonstrates that this electrical noise dramatically reduces heart-brain coherence, the physiological state necessary for effective field influence. The quantum mind hack includes a precise technique for rapidly inducing coherence, creating the necessary neurological foundation for effective quantum interaction. The second failure point. The confirmation bias trap. The human brain is designed to filter information to confirm existing beliefs. If you believe on any level that conscious reality creation is impossible, your perception will selectively notice evidence that supports this belief while filtering out contradictory data. This creates a self-reinforcing loop where perceptual filtering prevents recognition of successful manifestations, which further reinforces skepticism. The quantum mind hack includes a specific protocol for temporarily suspending confirmation bias, allowing your perceptual system to register results without filtering. The third failure point. The Descartes error. Western philosophy has promoted a fundamental split between mind and matter since Descartes famously declared, "I think, therefore I am." This philosophical division has become deeply embedded in our conceptual frameworks, creating what philosopher Ken Wilber calls the mind-body split, the unconscious belief that consciousness and physical reality operate independently. This hidden metaphysical assumption creates a subconscious expectation of disconnection between intention and manifestation. The quantum mind hack addresses this through a specific integration technique that temporarily dissolves the perceived boundary between mental and physical phenomena. The fourth failure point. The time-binding dilemma. Conventional reality creation techniques typically include future-oriented language and visualization, unintentionally placing desired outcomes in a perpetual not yet frame. This creates what physicists call temporal displacement, a subtle signal to the quantum field that the intention exists in the future rather than the present. Since quantum field interactions occur only in the present moment, this temporal framing prevents effective manifestation. The quantum mind hack uses a specific temporal collapse technique that brings intentions into the immediate now, where quantum influence becomes possible. The fifth failure point. The trying paradox. Perhaps the most insidious obstacle is the paradox of effort itself. When you try to create a specific reality, the very act of trying contains an implicit recognition of absence or lack. This creates a quantum contradiction where your field signature simultaneously broadcasts both wanting to have and not currently having, neutralizing effective manifestation. The quantum mind hack resolves this paradox through a specific protocol that removes the efforting quality from intention while maintaining focused clarity. This creates what physicist David Bohm called active passivity, the optimal state for quantum field influence. The sixth failure point. The frequency mismatch. Quantum physics demonstrates that everything in existence has a specific vibrational signature. For quantum manifestation to occur, your own energetic frequency must become resonant with the frequency of what you're intending to create. Most methods fail to address this fundamental requirement. Just as a radio must be tuned to the specific frequency of a broadcast to receive it clearly, your own energetic field must achieve resonance with what you're calling into your experience. The quantum mind hack includes a precise frequency calibration technique that creates this essential resonance. The seventh failure point. The observer effect blind spot. Quantum physics established that the observer affects the observed, but most people remain unaware of how continuously they're influencing reality through unconscious observation. Your habitual focus creates persistent quantum effects regardless of your conscious intentions. Most manifestation approaches focus exclusively on deliberate intention, while ignoring the quantum influence of habitual attention. The quantum mind hack addresses both sides of this equation through a specific protocol that harmonizes intentional and habitual observation patterns. Understanding these 7 failure points explains why so many sincere attempts at conscious creation produce disappointing results. The quantum mind hack systematically addresses each one, creating the precise conditions under which quantum manifestation reliably occurs. Perhaps most importantly, this protocol doesn't require you to adopt any particular metaphysical beliefs. It works with the actual mechanisms of quantum field interaction rather than relying on faith or positive thinking. Whether you approach it as applied physics or practical spirituality, the results remain consistent when the protocol is followed precisely. Now that we understand the theoretical foundation and common pitfalls, let's examine the exact protocol that allows you to directly influence quantum probability fields in your life experience. Part 3. The Quantum Mind Hack Protocol. What follows is the exact quantum mind hack protocol designed to be implemented tonight before sleep. This precise sequence creates optimal conditions for consciousness to directly influence quantum probability fields, restructuring potential outcomes in alignment with your intentions. For maximum benefit, I recommend recording these instructions with appropriate pauses between steps, allowing yourself to fully experience each phase without needing to remember the sequence. Preparation phase. Setting the quantum field. 3 minutes. Begin by creating optimal conditions for quantum field interaction. Choose a space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably with your spine straight, either in a chair or on the floor. Place both feet flat on the ground if in a chair, or sit cross-legged if on the floor. Place your hands palms up on your thighs, with thumb and index finger lightly touching on each hand. This mudra, or hand position, creates what quantum biologists call a closed circuit in your biofield, allowing electromagnetic energy to circulate rather than dissipate. Close your eyes and begin coherence breathing. Inhale for a count of 5, hold for a count of 1, exhale for a count of 5, hold for a count of 1. Continue this pattern throughout the preparation phase. This specific breathing pattern rapidly induces heart-brain coherence, as documented by HeartMath Institute research. EEG studies show it synchronizes neural oscillations and increases alpha wave production, creating the optimal brain state for quantum field interaction. As you establish this rhythm, place your awareness on the center of your chest and visualize a small sphere of golden light beginning to form in your heart center. With each breath, this sphere grows slightly larger and brighter. After about 12 breaths, when the sphere is approximately the size of a baseball, mentally direct it to expand outward in all directions until it surrounds your entire body in a luminous cocoon extending about 3 feet in all directions. This visualization isn't merely symbolic. Research at the Institute of HeartMath has documented that the heart generates an electromagnetic field extending several feet from the body, and that this field can be consciously modulated. The golden sphere visualization directly affects your actual biofield coherence. Quantum field cleansing, 2 minutes. While maintaining coherence breathing, become aware of any discordant energies within your quantum field. These might register as tension, heaviness, or discomfort in your body, or as persistent, worrying thoughts. Without trying to analyze or fix these discordant energies, simply observe them with neutral awareness. Then silently state, "I now release all frequencies incompatible with my highest manifestation potential." Visualize these discordant energies dissolving into pure light as they contact the golden sphere surrounding you. See your entire field becoming perfectly clear and harmonious, like a crystal without flaws. This cleansing process addresses what quantum physicists call destructive interference patterns in your biofield. These dissonant frequencies create quantum noise that dilutes manifestation potential. The cleansing neutralizes these patterns, creating the coherent field necessary for effective quantum influence. Quantum entanglement activation. 3 minutes. This phase establishes what physicists call quantum entanglement between your consciousness and the specific probability field you wish to influence. Bring to mind the specific reality you intend to create in your life experience. Rather than visualizing it as something in the future, experience it as already present. See, feel, hear, and sense it with all your faculties as if it were happening now. The key distinction in the quantum mind hack is to focus not on the external circumstances, but on the internal state those circumstances would create. What would you feel like if this were already your reality? How would your body feel? What would your typical thoughts be? How would you breathe, move, and speak?
Once you've fully embodied this state, silently declare, "This state of being is my quantum signature." It exists now as a probability wave in the quantum field. This approach leverages what quantum physicists call non-local consciousness, the ability of consciousness to establish correlation with specific quantum potentials across space-time by embodying the internal state rather than focusing on external circumstances. You avoid the time-binding dilemma and directly affect probability waves. The quantum collapse command. This is the core of the quantum mind hack. While maintaining the embodied state from the previous step, you'll now issue a precise quantum command that collapses probability waves into physical manifestation. Place your awareness at the center point between your eyebrows. From this point, project your consciousness outward in all directions simultaneously, creating what quantum physicist David Bohm called a holographic awareness that encompasses both your body and the surrounding quantum field, while holding this expanded awareness. Silently state the following quantum collapse command 3 times, with full conviction. From infinite potentials, this reality now crystallizes into physical experience. It is done. It is done. It is done. The specific wording of this command is crucial. From infinite potentials acknowledges the quantum nature of reality where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Now instructs the quantum field to collapse specific probability waves into definite states. Into physical experience directs this collapse toward tangible manifestation, rather than remaining as potential. It is done places the command in present tense, avoiding the time-binding dilemma. The repetition of it is done 3 times creates what neuroscientists call neural lock-in, strengthening the neural networks associated with certainty and completion. This directly addresses the trying paradox by removing the quality of effort or anticipation. Quantum field stabilization, the final phase, stabilizes the quantum command, preventing it from being neutralized by subsequent contradictory thoughts or emotions. Return your awareness to the golden sphere surrounding your body. Visualize this sphere now, pulsating with the specific frequency signature of your quantum command. See it becoming increasingly stable and luminous with each breath. Next, extend your awareness to the 24-hour period ahead. Visualize this quantum field accompanying you throughout your day, remaining stable regardless of external circumstances or internal states that might arise. Silently affirm, this quantum signature remains stable and coherent, magnetizing corresponding realities into my experience. All contradictory frequencies are automatically harmonized without effort. This stabilization addresses what quantum physicists call decoherence, the tendency of quantum states to lose coherence through interaction with the environment. By establishing field stability in advance, you prevent the common problem where manifestation efforts are undermined by subsequent doubt or contradictory focus. Finally, place both hands over your heart center, take 3 deep breaths, and silently express gratitude as if your intention has already manifested fully. This gratitude isn't a mere psychological technique, but creates what art math researchers call psychophysiological coherence, an optimal state for sustained quantum field influence. The entire quantum mind hack protocol takes approximately 15 minutes to complete. For optimal results, perform it just before sleep, when the critical filtering function of the conscious mind naturally diminishes, allowing deeper access to quantum field dynamics.
Part 4. The Science Behind the Protocol. The quantum mind hack isn't based on wishful thinking or pseudoscience. Each element is grounded in research from quantum physics, neuroscience, and consciousness studies. Let's examine exactly why this specific protocol creates such reliable results. Field coherence and bioelectromagnetics. The preparation phase directly influences what biophysicists call your bioelectromagnetic field, the complex electromagnetic field generated by your nervous system, heart, and cellular activity. Research at the HeartMath Institute has demonstrated that this field extends several feet beyond the physical body and carries information that affects both your own physiological functioning and potentially other biological systems nearby. When this field achieves coherence, organized, harmonious patterns, it creates what quantum physicists call constructive interference, amplifying your interaction with larger quantum fields. The specific breathing pattern in the protocol, 5-1-5-1, has been shown in laboratory studies to rapidly induce heart rate variability coherence, a key indicator of overall biofield coherence. EEG measurements show that this breathing pattern also increases alpha wave activity, 8-not 12 Hz, across the brain, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, creating the optimal neurological state for quantum field interaction. The mudra, hand position, creates what biophysicists call a closed-loop circuit in your electromagnetic field. This prevents energy leakage and establishes the conditions for what physicist Fritz Albert Popp terms biophoton coherence, organized patterns in the subtle light emitted by all biological systems. Quantum field dynamics and consciousness. The quantum cleansing phase addresses what physicists call destructive interference patterns in your personal field. Just as sound waves can cancel each other out when peaks align with troughs, conflicting intentions create quantum field cancellation that prevents effective manifestation. Research at the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research, PEER, laboratory demonstrated that emotional states significantly impact one's ability to influence random event generators. Negative or conflicting emotional states created what researchers called operator noise, reducing measurable effects on quantum systems. The cleansing visualization creates what quantum biologists call phase coherence in your biofield, resolving contradictory patterns that would otherwise neutralize your manifestation efforts. Quantum entanglement and non-local consciousness. The entanglement phase leverages what quantum physicists call non-local correlations between consciousness and specific quantum potentials. Einstein famously called this phenomenon spooky action at a distance, the demonstrated ability of entangled particles to instantaneously affect each other regardless of spatial separation. Research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has shown that human consciousness can establish similar non-local connections with specific information fields. Their studies on presentiment show that the human nervous system responds to events seconds before they occur, suggesting consciousness isn't bound by conventional time limitations. By focusing on the internal state rather than external circumstances, the protocol avoids what physicists call the observer-effect paradox, where direct observation of quantum possibilities can actually inhibit their collapse into physical reality. The internal state approach creates what quantum physicist David Bohm called active information in the quantum field without the restricting effects of rigid expectation. The quantum collapse command and wave function collapse. The core quantum command phase utilizes what physicists call wave function collapse, the transition of quantum possibilities into definite states through interaction with consciousness. The specific wording of the command is based on research by physicist William Tiller, who demonstrated that specific intention statements create measurable changes in physical systems when properly structured. His studies showed that commands framed in present-moment, completed action language created stronger effects than future-oriented or process-focused language. The repetition 3 times leverages what neuroscientists call long-term potentiation, the strengthening of neural connections through repetition. fMRI studies show that repeated affirmations activate the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex, brain regions associated with certainty and decision-making. This creates stronger quantum field influence by reducing signal contradictions from neural networks associated with doubt. Field stabilization and quantum coherence. The stabilization phase addresses what quantum physicists call decoherence, the tendency of quantum states to lose their coherence through interaction with the environment. This explains why many manifestation efforts initially create promising results that later fade without lasting change. Research at the California Institute of Technology has shown that quantum states can be stabilized through what's called environmental engineering, creating protective conditions that maintain coherence. The stabilization visualization creates a similar protective field around your quantum intention, maintaining its coherence despite potentially contradictory thoughts or external influences. The gratitude component activates what neuroscientists call the parasympathetic response, shifting the nervous system from stress activation to regenerative functioning. HeartMath research shows that genuine gratitude creates the strongest form of heart-brain coherence, establishing an optimal biofield for sustained quantum influence. The pre-sleep timing of the protocol leverages what neuroscientists call the hypnagogic state, the border between waking and sleeping when brainwaves naturally shift from beta, 13 to 30 Hz, to alpha, 8 to 12 Hz, and theta, 4 to 11 Hz. EEG studies show this state creates heightened communication between conscious and subconscious processes, allowing quantum commands to penetrate deeper levels of consciousness without the filtering that occurs in normal waking states. All of these scientific perspectives help explain why the quantum mind hack produces such consistent results across different individuals, regardless of their previous manifestation experience or belief systems. The method works with natural properties of human consciousness and quantum field dynamics rather than requiring faith in any particular metaphysical framework. Part 5. The 5 Reality Shifts. When implemented consistently, the quantum mind hack creates 5 distinct shifts in how reality organizes itself around you. These aren't temporary changes, but fundamental realignments in how quantum probability fields collapse into your physical experience. First shift, the synchronicity cascade. The most immediate and noticeable change typically emerges within 72 hours of your first protocol implementation. Random events begin organizing themselves in non-random ways that support your conscious intentions. The phone calls you need happen to come at precisely the right time. Resources you require appear through unexpected channels. People who can assist your progress cross your path in seemingly coincidental ways. What psychologist Carl Jung called meaningful coincidences begin proliferating in your experience. This occurs because the protocol creates what quantum physicists call order parameters in the probability field surrounding you. These parameters act like magnetic attractors, drawing relevant potentials into your actual experience based on resonance with your quantum signature. One practitioner described receiving 3 separate unexpected calls offering exactly the business opportunity he had included in his quantum command after 6 months of no progress in that direction. Another reported finding the exact rare book she needed for her research, which happened to be mistakenly placed on an unrelated shelf she was browsing. As this synchronicity cascade strengthens, life begins to feel more like a collaborative creation than a series of random events or struggles against circumstances. The classical distinction between internal and external reality begins dissolving as you witness the direct correlation between your quantum commands and physical experiences. Second shift, probability collapse acceleration. After several weeks of consistent practice, most people notice a significant acceleration in how quickly intentions manifest into physical reality. What once might have taken months or years to materialize now often appears in days or weeks. This occurs because the protocol gradually strengthens what physicists call your quantum coherence, the degree to which your consciousness can maintain focused intention without internal contradiction. As coherence increases, the time required for probability waves to collapse into physical events decreases proportionally. A business consultant reported reducing his average client acquisition cycle from 3 months to 2 weeks after implementing the protocol for 30 days. A health practitioner found that physical symptoms which previously took weeks to respond to treatment now shifted within days using the same methods. This acceleration doesn't mean all intentions manifest instantly. Complex manifestations involving multiple factors still follow natural gestation periods. However, the overall pace of manifestation typically increases by 300 to 500% for most practitioners who implement the protocol consistently. Third shift: resistance dissolution. Perhaps the most liberating shift occurs in your relationship with obstacles and challenges. What once appeared as fixed barriers or persistent problems begins dissolving with minimal effort on your part. This happens because the protocol resolves what quantum physicists call phase cancellation in your biofield, contradictory intentions that previously created self-sabotage or blocked progress. As these contradictions resolve, resistance naturally dissolves without direct effort to overcome it. One practitioner who had struggled with procrastination for decades found the behavior spontaneously falling away without willpower or discipline. Another, who had faced persistent financial limitations despite multiple strategy attempts, found new income channels opening effortlessly after implementing the protocol. This isn't about bypassing necessary growth processes or avoiding legitimate challenges. Rather, it's about distinguishing between actual growth opportunities and artificial barriers created by field incoherence. The protocol specifically targets the latter, leaving authentic growth catalysts intact while dissolving unnecessary restrictions. Fourth shift: intuitive amplification. After several months of regular practice, most people experience a dramatic enhancement in intuitive clarity. Decisions that once required extensive analysis become immediately clear. Solutions to complex problems arise spontaneously. Wisdom beyond your accumulated knowledge becomes increasingly available. This occurs because the protocol strengthens what neuroscientists call the Cretu Default Mode Network, DMN, in your brain, the neural system active during introspection and non-directed thought. fMRI studies show that enhanced DMN functioning correlates with heightened intuitive processing and creative insight. One corporate executive described knowing instantly which of 3 potential partnerships would succeed, despite all 3 looking equally promising on paper. The partnership she selected indeed created exceptional results, while the others later revealed hidden problems that would have caused significant issues. This intuitive amplification doesn't replace analytical thinking but complements it, creating what researchers call whole brain decision-making, the integration of logical analysis with intuitive knowing. As this integration strengthens, decisions become both faster and more accurate, creating compound benefits in all life areas. Fifth shift: reality fluidity. The most profound shift that emerges through continued practice is what quantum physicists call reality fluidity. The experiential recognition that physical circumstances are far more malleable than conventional understanding suggests. Situations that once seemed fixed or inevitable begin responding directly to shifts in your conscious focus. Problems that appeared to require extensive external action often resolve through subtle shifts in your quantum field signature. The boundary between creating and allowing begins to dissolve as you recognize both as aspects of the same quantum process. One practitioner described completely transforming a toxic work environment without any direct action or confrontation, solely through consistent implementation of the protocol focused on harmonious team dynamics. Another reported healing a chronic health condition that multiple specialists had declared permanent and irreversible. This reality fluidity doesn't mean physical laws cease to operate or that external action becomes unnecessary. Rather, it reveals that consciousness and physical reality exist in a far more dynamic relationship than materialist paradigms acknowledge. External action becomes more effective because it arises from and aligns with coherent quantum field influence rather than struggling against established probability patterns. These 5 reality shifts typically unfold in the sequence described, with each shift creating the foundation for the next. While individual timelines vary based on starting conditions and consistency of practice, most people experience noticeable changes within the first week and substantial reality reorganization within 90 days of regular implementation. What makes these changes sustainable rather than temporary is that they don't depend on maintaining an altered state or constant conscious effort. The protocol creates lasting changes in your quantum field signature that persist even when you're not actively focusing on them, gradually becoming your default way of interacting with reality. Part 6. Advanced Applications and Integration. Once you've established a strong foundation with the basic quantum mind hack protocol, several advanced applications become possible. These extensions allow you to apply quantum field influence with greater precision and in more specific life domains. Relationship Field Harmonization. For relationships experiencing discord or stagnation, an adapted version of the protocol can create remarkable transformations without manipulating or changing the other person. Begin with the standard protocol, establishing clear quantum field coherence. Then bring your awareness to what quantum physicists call the interference pattern, the field created where your consciousness overlaps with another person, ooze. Visualize this as a distinct energy field existing between you, currently containing discordant patterns. Without trying to change the other person, focus solely on transmuting your contribution to this field. See your own energy shifting from reactive patterns to clear, coherent resonance. Then issue this specific quantum command. The field between us now repatterns to reveal our highest mutual potential. All distortions dissolve, revealing the true harmony of our connection. Practitioners report remarkable shifts even in seemingly intractable relationship dynamics. One described a complete transformation in a hostile co-parenting relationship when she recognized through quantum insight that she had been unconsciously reinforcing conflict patterns through her defensive field signature. This approach works because it honors free will while addressing the quantum interference patterns that often perpetuate relationship difficulties beneath conscious awareness. Health Field Regeneration. While the quantum mind hack is not a replacement for appropriate medical care, it can powerfully complement healing process for physical challenges through what biophysicists call field-directed regeneration. After establishing the basic protocol, bring focused awareness to the specific area of physical distress without resistance or fear. Rather than trying to force healing, simply observe the current energy pattern with neutral awareness. Then visualize what quantum biologists call the morphic field template, the underlying blueprint of perfect functioning for this area. See this template gently realigning the current pattern, not through force but through resonant entrainment. Issue this specific quantum command. The perfect pattern now reestablishes itself through quantum resonance. All cells and systems remember their optimal functioning and reorganize accordingly. One practitioner with chronic lower back pain reported complete resolution after 3 weeks of this practice, despite 10 years of minimal improvement through conventional treatments. Another documented accelerated healing from surgery with recovery time reduced by 60% compared to medical projections. This application works because it addresses what biophysicists call the information field that guides biological organization, rather than attempting to force physical changes through mental will. Financial quantum repatterning. For financial challenges or limitations, a specialized adaptation of the protocol can create remarkable shifts in your economic reality by addressing what quantum researchers call abundance field coherence. Begin with the standard protocol. Then specifically focus on your current beliefs and emotions surrounding money and value exchange. Rather than visualizing specific amounts or outcomes, focus on establishing a clear, coherent field signature of prosperity consciousness. See yourself completely at ease with both giving and receiving value, with money flowing through your life rather than being grasped or feared. Then issue this quantum command. My value exchange field now reorganizes in perfect alignment with unlimited abundance. All scarcity patterns dissolve, revealing my natural state of prosperity. One entrepreneur reported doubling her business revenue within 60 days after implementing this protocol, despite making no external changes to her business model or marketing. Another described resolving long-standing debt through unexpected opportunities that appeared shortly after beginning the practice. This approach works because it addresses the quantum field patterns underlying financial reality, rather than focusing solely on external actions or strategies. Creativity, quantum amplification. For enhanced creative expression in any field, from arts to business innovation, a modified protocol can dramatically accelerate both the quality and quantity of creative output. After establishing the basic coherence, focus specifically on opening to what quantum researchers call the information field, the non-local dimension containing all potential ideas and expressions. Rather than efforting to create, shift into a receptive state of inspired allowing. Visualize your consciousness as a clear channel through which this universal creative intelligence flows without obstruction. Then issue this quantum command. I now serve as a clear conduit for optimal creative expression. All patterns blocking this flow dissolve, revealing the infinite creative potential always available to me. A writer who had struggled with block for months reported completing an entire book manuscript within 6 weeks after implementing this protocol. A designer described accessing entirely new levels of innovative concepts that transformed her professional work and recognition. This application works because it shifts the creative process from isolated personal effort to quantum field reception, accessing what physicist David Bohm called the implicate order, where all potential creations already exist in unmanifest form. Life Purpose Alignment. Perhaps the most profound advanced application addresses what spiritual traditions call Dharma, or life purpose alignment, ensuring your daily activities and long-term direction align with your soul is intended evolution. Life Purpose Alignment. Begin with the basic protocol. Then expand your awareness beyond the current lifetime to connect with what quantum physicists call your non-local consciousness, the aspect of your awareness that exists outside space-time limitations. From this expanded perspective, allow impressions to arise about your intended contributions and growth in this lifetime. Rather than seeking specific career or activity guidance, focus on the qualities.